It's not easy to be volunteers in town, but breaking the law is breaking the law.
So, ma'am, if you want to slander town officials who are doing their very best,
I'm not slandering.
Then we're going to go ahead and stop the public comment session now.
Look, you need to stop being a Hitler.
Recess.
You're a Hitler.
All right, we are moving into recess. Thank you.
That was a problem. The state Supreme Court in Massachusetts, they have now ruled to allow interactions like that, specifically from the lady that was calling him a Hitler, not necessarily Hitler. It's a little different. So according to the highest court in that state, it's unconstitutional to mandate, quote, good manners and decorum at these town halls and these board meetings. Because freedom of speech, bro. That woman named Louise Barron, she was threatened with removal from that Southborough board meeting for criticizing that board that was very offended by her words. But she was trying to hold the town accountable for breaking the state's open meeting law, a violation that the state attorney general had also confirmed. So apparently she was right. They didn't like that she pushed back that way and then attempted to remove her. So she said, now I'm suing your ass. And the court sided with her. Here's those details. Court found that her reference to Hitler was, quote, certainly rude and insulting. They can't deny that, but was protected speech nonetheless. The town's insistence on civility appears to cross the line onto viewpoint discrimination, allowing lavish praise, but disallowing harsh criticism of government officials, what the ruling said. Although civility can and should be encouraged in political discourse, the justices wrote, it cannot be required. I think that's pretty obvious when we see some of our politicians speaking. The name calling doesn't happen as much, but they're definitely not kind. It struck down an unconstitutional Southborough civility code that had previously been in place for public comment at meetings, which required respectful and courteous discourse, free of rude, personal, or slanderous remarks. I guess for folks who are getting called these names and maybe would be attached to them sitting in these places, it's detrimental to their possibilities for staying in their positions, you guys. So they were fighting against it, but freedom of speech, bro. What's your thoughts here?
Speech is speech. It's not like she threw tea on him. Like, it's not, she just said what she felt, okay? But I think it's wonderful that the courts sided with her. But I don't know, go out to California, Stockton, and remember those BLM? About 5 of them just were a little disruptive, city council meeting. They got booted, okay? Yeah. And I remember police said, oh, they were so violent. Notice how there was not one arrest. Now, if they show up and get kicked out and there's not one arrest, stop. Said their body cams got knocked off during the stop, okay, really? So yeah, it's wonderful and everything, but would it be applied to everyone? That was just my follow-up question.
Right. Okay, so look, you can be mean. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with criticism. That was my first time hearing the soundbite, and I'm gonna be honest, man. Even I was like, oof. Yeah, wow. Like, I think there is a line. All right, I don't want to sound, like an ass here, but like there is a line.
Hitler
like,
too much for you?
Yeah, like it was. I'm being honest. It was. I think like if you bring the receipts, right? These are some of my favorite videos I see on Twitter. Is when what was my man's name who ran for Senate in Louisiana and lost to the guy who's like, call a crackhead.
Gary.
Yes, Gary Chambers. When he called out Connie. Like that was an amazing video.
Shopping online, Connie. Stop shopping online.
Shopping.
Yeah.
And instead of kicking him out, she walked out because she knew she was in the wrong. Like there is a good way for public discourse to happen that I personally felt like crossed the line. But yeah, you should be allowed to call these people out. I remember when there was a town in Oklahoma that was conducting a deal with the private prison industry. One person brought the receipts on how there could potentially be a conflict of interest with some of the board members, and they voted to essentially silence the person who was bringing said receipts. So there is a way to protect free speech while also having some sort of decorum. What I will say is, in the words of one grifter, facts don't care about your feelings. And I will stick with it that if you do bring those facts, it will trump anything else.
how do you come with that line? Because I gotta believe, I agree with you to an extent. Where's the line where you can call people idiots, dummies?
I think going to the big H is kind of getting there. I don't know. Do you like? Am I crazy? Do you guys?
No.
Like
That's
that?
why. That's why I figured maybe this could have been somewhere in the middle. And I feel like you have the answer.
Here's the thing: it might have been somewhere in the middle before 2016. Okay, but then that guy with little hands started calling everyone out and saying whatever he wanted to say. Remember? Okay, he said outlandish things.
Yep.
So, where's the line and who decides? If you can do it in the Rose Garden and attack an Asian reporter, very respected reporter for a national network, then where's the line and who decides? Little hands? I don't know.
No, whoever agrees with the folks mostly. Let's shift gears. By the way, though, they were saying this could lead to less conversations within the city council and things like that, and it could suppress speech, I guess in an auxiliary manner. So they're concerned. They're concerned because people want to talk. They'll be limited.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.